Ode in light, vibrant in every atom. Ode in light, shining in every creature. Ode in love, embracing all in oneness. May each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. आप सबका स्वागत है. वेलकम एवरीवन. आज का टॉपिक है काम एंड प्राण, an interesting combination in secret doctrine. So our topic for today is Kam and Pran, an interesting combination in the secret doctrine. And our speaker is National Lecturer Brother Bidit Tendulkar ji. We have already heard from him and his lectures in Shankar Lodge. I request Brother to please start with your lecture. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, sir. At the outset, I thank the Shankar Lodge and the Theosophical Federation for making this opportunity available to me to express my views on Kama and Prana, an interesting combination in secret doctrine. This topic is to perhaps clear the concepts about both prana and kama and their interrelationship. Prana expresses principle of life. Both prana and jiva, these terms have been used frequently in secret doctrine. Jiva expresses one life. We know that this is used in the context of the Manvantara as a whole. So, Jiva exists throughout the Manvantara, while Prana is the expression of the Jiva at the individual and planetary level. Prana is the aspect of life principle in man during lifetime on earth. Also, it is a life principle of the earth. We know that when death occurs, prana leaves the body. What happens to it then? Prana returns to the source. Source is Jiva, the cosmic principle. So the individual prana returns back to the cosmic source. It has been mentioned that functions of Jiva is of fivefold character. This prana operates in all kingdoms of nature, from mineral to human kingdom. It is predominantly active in animal kingdom and human kingdom. But there is a difference in relation to its activity in the animal kingdom. It represents in man higher intellectual and spiritual faculties which are active only in human kingdom. And there is a need that all principles are dependent on prana for their activity. It has been mentioned in Secret Doctrine, fruition of all five is necessary in man, without which man is no more than an animal. So the heavenly man depends on the potency of five virtues. We generally refer to prana as pancha prana. Of course, in the context of all 7 rounds, if we see, it may have 7 different manifestations. But for the time being, when we are in the 4th round of evolution, we are concerned mainly with Kama and Manas. Kama is the 4th principle, Manas is the 5th principle. And as we know, in every round, one principle develops in its 7 aspects. So far as the present state of evolution is concerned, we are in the process of development of the 4th aspect, 4th principle, which is karma. And we are in the 5th race, Aryan race. So it is the 5th aspect of the 4th principle. 5th aspect relates to the 5th principle, Manasa. So the present stage of evolution concerns mainly with Kama Manasa. The 4th round, 5th race. And therefore, we find that there is this, the development of Kama aspect is predominantly dominated by manifestation of various kinds of passions, desire element is very strong. Kama is basically desire. So our thoughts, which originate from the mind, are driven more by desires. So desires have overwhelming influence on our thinking process. And this process will continue through next round also. In the next round, 5th round, the 5th principle, that is Manas, will be the development or evolution that will be prominent. And in the 4th race of the 5th round, we will find a position which could be not reverse, but now we are talking of Kama Manas, that time it will be Manasa Kama. That is the 5th principle And its fourth aspect will be passing through this evolutionary stage. So the difference between the two stages is that um, at present, karma is not sufficiently evolved, and therefore um, the whole process of thinking is colored by karma. While that time, the karma will have involved in the next round to a high degree of evolution. Uh, Therefore, this um, karma will be greatly influenced by the intelligence, the main um, principle of manasa. Therefore, there is now we see that there is a call for creation of a new mind for the present humanity. We have to overcome this overwhelming influence of karma on our mental processes. And prana is responsible for activating these various principles. It has been mentioned in the sacred doctrine that without prana, there will be no karma. So it is the prana which really responsible for the activating of the karma. And um, karma by itself is generally misunderstood as something evil or basically a desire principle, and therefore we equate it with um, uh, bad desires, vasanas, or passions on which the uh, thinking brain has very little control. But HPB has said that the real nature of karma is not that. The karma, in its pure nature, is uh, something which can be equated with um, a force or energy um, which really um, is associated with the feeling of love, not individual love, but you can say universal love. Uh, so that at that level, we find um, that it really is responsible for the ideal conditions of what we usually say universal brotherhood. It is not only love, but uh, characteristics like compassion, sympathy, mercy, all these are coming along with that love for all. And there is nothing to uh, criticize or blame or consider it as evil. In fact, HPV says it is a colorless principle. It has no shades which we give it. In fact, in the earlier stages of humanity, um, there was hardly anything which we see now, because this has come uh, more in the third race of humanity, when the manas was activated in the third race of humanity on earth by the manas putras from the Venus. So when man become self-conscious, naturally selfishness grew, and along with that, various kinds of evil tendencies also grew. So the what was originally a very noble thing appears as something um, which really comes in the way of evolution of man. So um, we must see how the whole um, action or functions of these two principles um, are seen in the whole process of development. The, it has been said that when death takes place, the dead body passes into polarity, and um, it repels the active agent, that is, pranas are the active agent which loses hold of the whole body, because pranas is the cohesive force which holds the all say life atoms together into a form of a body. But um, the when the body acquires the polarity of that agency, what happens? Because of the same polarity, the holding principle or principle which fastens all particles together is withdrawn, because there is between similar polarities um, distraction, not attraction. So pranas separate from the body, and um, partly they get um, attached um, to the individual particles, life atoms, and partly or majority of it goes back to the source, the universal source, that is Jiva. So after death, the principle of prana leaves the body and goes back to the source, while the life atoms, which share some pranas, because when the life atoms are separate, though the body is dead, the atoms are active, and that gives them the movement to go back to their source. Now, these atoms are derived from the various kingdoms of nature. So, these atoms go back to the respective kingdoms. It may be mineral kingdom, plant kingdom, animal kingdom, and even human kingdom. Because as we know, our body is constituted by attracting life atoms from different kingdoms to form different constituents of the body, which different constituents represent our bones, say, which develop out of mineral kingdom, our flesh that may develop from the plant kingdom. There are then various kinds of glands, secretions, all that. So, development of the human body as such depends on different kingdoms of nature. Therefore, after death, all these go back to the respective kingdoms of nature. And then, uh, of course, on each of these atoms, there remains a stamp of the soul, um, actually, for which their aggregations represent as different vehicles. So, because of that, when reincarnation takes place, there is a natural attraction between the reincarnating soul and these life atoms of the old body belonging to the earlier past incarnation. They get attracted, and from that, new bodies are formed. So, um, this process um, of development of opposite polarity um, applies even between the physical body and the earth also. At that time, the physical body has a polarity opposite to earth when death occurs. Body takes on polarity of earth, then prana is repelled from body. So these processes simultaneously take place. Death of the body and repelling of the pranas from the body. And due to this withdrawal of the prana, there is separation, as I may explain now, and consequent deterioration, which takes place very fast. So, disintegration takes place. Prana inheres in life atoms which continue transmigration, passing from kingdom to kingdom to the original source. And this process repeats in every incarnation. So the life atoms are never lost. We might carry an impression that after death, what happens to these life atoms? So they are never lost. The atoms best impregnated with life principles. They are independent, eternal, conscious factors in this process of reincarnation. And they are partially transmitted from father to son by heredity, which is commonly known. And they are partially drawn once more together and become animating principle of the new body. In every new incarnation of the monarchs. So this is one process where those um, are transmitted by father to son by heredity. And individual soul, as we know, is ever the same. So are the atoms of lower principles. So even those atoms are also the same. So though the new vehicles are formed, new bodies are formed in new reincarnation, um, we must remember that the atoms are drawn from the same old stock. They are drawn by affinity, which there is a magnetic affinity, we can say. And karmic law is also responsible for that. So the same individuality is ensured by that. In a series of incarnations representing different bodies in each incarnation. So the bodies are mortal, but the individual soul is immortal. That is what is also referred as the collective aggregation of the atoms. In case of planet, it is referred to as anima mundi um, of our system. And the same principle applies to our individual soul also. Each atom of which is a soul, a monad, a little universe endowed with consciousness. Kama Rupa is a vehicle. Generally, um, this is a desire form, we can say, of disembodied entity. This is, I am talking about a state after death, when the body gets disintegrated, as we have seen, pranas move on, and the prana kosha, or what we call etheric double, also gets subsequent to the death of the physical body. And then what exists is a kama rupa, which is the desire form. This happens when it enters into what we call as kama loka. So kama loka um, is the habitat of the kama rupa, that is composed of astral matter, and it contains the essence of every cell, molecule exuded from physical etheric double. So, though the physical body dies, etheric double dies, still the essence of every cell, molecule of those bodies goes to the Kamaloka. And that represents the Kamarupa. That is a subjective form created through mental desires relating to matter by sentient beings. So that's why we say that what generally pass on to the Kamaloka are the unfulfilled desires of a man. So, fulfillment of those that is partly worked out in this Kamaloka. Kamaloka is also referred to as desire world, and which represents unfulfillment of lower desires in the first phase after death. So there are two phases, we can say, in Kamaloka or Mrityuloka also we generally refer to it. They take a kind of polarity, you can say. So at one pole of a thing, first, what happens in the first phase is the unfulfillment of the lower desires, that is worked out. And other pole provides for spiritual yearning of earth life. So here you will see that at the two ends of this Kamaloka, the upper is in association, upper level of Kamaloka is in association with the lower level of Devakan or Devachan. Therefore, it has been described in the secret doctrine that we die two deaths. One makes man two of the three. So that is a stage immediately after death. And the second stage is other makes one for two. So first is the one makes man two of three. So when that physical body is left behind, what remains are two out of three. And then during the second death, one of the two. So one goes and only one remains. So that's how it has been described. It has also been described in a different way. Um, it has been said that, particularly Plutarch has described this. He allocates three portions: composition of soul with soul, that is psyche, with understanding, which is nous. So, um, soul, how it is composed? It makes reason with soul, and with body, it makes passion. So, it is this where we refer to the desire aspect. Reason belongs to manas, and that passion belongs to kama. So, kama manas refers to the reasoning faculty, and the kama represents the passion. One is beginning of pleasure and pain, other of virtue and vice. So these are the two phases. In the first phase, pleasure and pain, that is worked out, and in the second phase, virtue and vice. Three compose earth, that earth gives body. Then second is moon. Moon gives soul, and sun gives understanding to man. So there is a contribution of these three, you can say, sources of formation of the body, soul and spirit, you can say. So here there is an importance that how much importance we give to the desires, because uh, it is the intensity of desires which will determine the life of these uh, mrityuloka, or the survival of the soul before its transition to the devakan. For that only Buddha has advised, don't attempt to gratify desires, so that will really regulate our passage through the Mrityuloka. Because um, gratifying desires is like adding fuel to fire, that is what he had said. Therefore, we should avoid cultivating strong attachments. Desires create attachment. Strong desires create very strong attachments also. And they continue in Kamaloka until the force is fed out. So the life in Kamaloka will depend upon the strength of these. If we go through the diagrammatic representation of seven principles, we see that it has been beautifully illustrated in the idea of Saptaparna. In that, it has been explained that one life, which has also been referred to the as initial existence, that is a film for creative or formative purposes, and it manifests in seven different states, and each state had seven septenary subdivisions. So there are 7 into 7, 49 fires. And object of the cyclic journey of 7 rounds is to complete full developments of seven principles in all seven aspects. So the purpose of the whole process of the earth chain, which consists of 7 rounds, is lighting of 49 fires in 7 rounds. That is how they have described it. Because it's in each round there are seven stages. So in 7 rounds there are 49 stages, and these are referred to as 49 fires. And in the human evolution, these are gradually lighted. So if we look at the present state, then we are in the fourth round, and our present is the fifth race in the fourth round. So only in first 3 rounds, 7 into 3, 21, plus 5 in the current round. So 21 plus 5, 26. So as on today, only 26 out of the 49 fires have been lighted, which means we are little ahead of the midway in the process of total revolution for reaching that stage of perfection. And um, the lot of evolution is yet to take place. And um, the nature of karma, which I was earlier discussing, so in that it has been cleared that as we represent by Saptaparna, that each principles from the subtlest level, um, there is manifestation of the next, like that seven principles evolve. And out of that, three, the first three are represented by the higher triad, and remaining four are the lower quaternary. So 3 plus 4, they make 7. In this, we find that the triad is shown as placed upon the quadrangle. So there is a common line joining the two. So the baseline of triad is the manas. Atma, Buddhi, these are the sidelines, and the baseline is manas. This is so far as the higher triad is concerned. When we come to the lower quaternary or quadrangle, there are four, four lines. So there the upper line is that of Kama. So higher triangle and lower quadrangle, when they meet by the common line adjoining the two, it is on one side manas and the other side it is kama. So that's how the kama manas comes into existence, joining the two. So it is the middle line of duad, we can say. It is the stage of kama manas, and as HPB has described, manas taijasi. So these are the two aspects of that mind. On the upper side, it is manas taijasi. On the lower side, it is kama manas. So that is also, we can say, a divided line between what we refer to as personality on the lower side and the individuality on the higher side. Pythagorean description, it has been described as number 7, which is referred to as heptagon. Heptagon is also considered as a perfect religious number, telephoros. 7 principles are aspects of one principle, and this one is a periodical ray of one eternal infinite flame. That is how it has been described. Manas is a mind principle and kama is a desire principle. Manas distinguishes man from animal. It makes him intelligent moral being. Between man and animal, there is impassable abyss of mentality and self-consciousness. Karma generally is viewed as something evil, but it has been clarified that it has been derived from the root kam, which means desire, to desire. It's not evil. It can be directed to spiritual ends or it can be directed to the selfish ends. And therefore, in the early stages of evolution, when man became self conscious, the natural form it took is the evolution towards selfish ends. It is due to, we can say, misuse of the mental faculty in association with karma. Though karma itself is not evil, it is the misuse of the mental faculty in association with desire which makes it evil. In association with higher principles, it becomes a beneficent factor. So, if we are well aware and conscious of the potencies of these two, kama and manasas, then that will help us in a more effective manner our evolution in our own hands. If we utilize our life for a noble cause of helping others, for advancing of humanity, for gaining of knowledge without ambition, eliminating the tendency to harm others. So, this is a kind of life which is expected if we want to utilize the karma in a constructive manner. If we don't do that, and if we live life in a selfish manner, naturally we will allow the karma to develop in a direction um, which will not really help us on the path of evolution. Karma is preeminently a divine desire. It is desire, no doubt, but it has been described as a divine desire. Desire of creating happiness and love. So that is what we see in our prayer. Sarve sukhinas santu, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu. That is the expression of the karma in its original form. But HPB had said, as mankind began to materialize by anthropomorphization, its grandest ideals were transformed into cut and dried dogmas, and karma became power that gratifies desires on animal plane. So it is a deterioration which has taken place, as I mentioned, after this manas principle became active. Till the midpoint of the third root race, it was not active, and therefore, this connection between the higher triangle and the lower quadrangle was missing. That was activated, and then really, real man came into existence. But that time, the development of self consciousness was naturally uh, became self-centered, and the consciousness being um, fixed in the lower quadrangle, the expectation, um, which was quite natural, that the development of the lower quadrangle will directly contribute to the development of the higher triangle. That did not happen because the consciousness remained fixed at the lower level, at that self-centered position. And it became the gratification of desire on the animal plane as a normal train in the course of evolution. So, as an individual, a man evolved, but as a humanity, that did not happen. Both desire and mind, both principles, should be studied together for uh, understanding of full significance of both. Prana as jiva is life essence emanating from Supreme. Jiva is that life aspect of the Absolute. It means to breathe. Vital currents, as it has been mentioned in the Anugita also, that reference is also there in the Secret Doctrine. It is a expirational breath, universally pervasive vitality. In Secret Doctrine, it has been described as universally pervasive vitality, life principles permeating body and earth. This active power produces all phenomena. Life energy, omnipresent, eternal. Prana permeates whole objective universe. We generally refer to our etheric double as pranamay kosh. So that is the individualized form of the cosmic or universal jiva. It is, they have described as Dux ex machina of living man. And it has been said emphatically that karma depends on prana. Without prana, there is no calm. That's why this topic, that interesting combination of karma and prana, has, I thought, a relevant context, because karma depends on prana, and HPB says, without prana, there can be no kama. Prana wrecks kamic germs. He has described it as prana wrecks kamic germs to life. It makes all desires vital and living. So we must understand this relationship between these two principles, which are extremely relevant in the course of evolution of man from his uh, yes uh, from that state of um, animal desires to the divine aspirations. In the total context of seven principles, these two, kama, which specifically refers to the astral body, and manas refers to the lower mind, which together influence each other. At present, the greater influence is of a calm on the mind. As we evolve in the right direction, the manas, the reason, will influence the desire aspect, and then the evolution will really be rapid. That is what we can see from the way the whole course of evolution has been drawn. So here I will conclude my speech. Um, Thanks again for the opportunity given to me to deliberate on this topic of Kama and Prana.
Thank you, brother. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Is there anyone who would like to add or to ask any question? कोई है जो कोई सवाल पूछना चाहता है या कुछ और जोड़ना चाहता है तो वो जोड़ सकती है.
हॅलो.
Yes,
नमस्कार. ह्याच कामाला फोहत म्हटलेलं आहे का, जो निवळ फॉर्म मध्ये आहे?
त्याला
आणि फोहत फोहत म्हटलंय का?
Pohat. Pohat
विच
is
इज द ब्रिज बिटवीन
that
स्पिरिट
energy
मॅटर.
which is a binding force between the spirit and matter.
येस.
And it is, as you said, closely related with prana and kama. True.
थँक्यू.
Both is the uh, energy, you can say, which really, without which there will be no manifestation. Because unless spirit and matter are together, uh, these two remain in an unmanifested state. For manifestation, their remaining together is essential, and keeping them together is possible because of power.
म्हणजे मग आधीच्या 3 रेसेस मध्ये
Yeah.
काम नव्हता का?
You can say that. She has mentioned that there was no kama loka. Kamas nahi तर kama loka कुठून असणार? What is said, there was no kama loka in those earlier stages.
ओके. ओके. थँक्यू.
Yeah.
Anyone else who wants to say anything can unmute themselves.
Yes, sir. You mentioned that prana is there in animals and humans, but not in plants. Why, sir?
There.
What is the question?
Yeah. Prana is there in animals and human, but not in plants. No, you did not say that's dominant more in
Yeah.
animal and
It is more
humans.
active in animals, but it is refined in human. Uh, they are there in all kingdoms, uh, but they are not very much prominent so far as um, they affect um, by their association uh, uh, with other principles. But here you will find that because this desire element is active uh, more in the human beings who are self-conscious. In animals, they are strongly conscious, but they are not self-conscious. In
So,
two other
sir,
kingdoms, plant kingdom and mineral kingdom, the consciousness itself is so dim that activity of other principles is almost negligible, particularly the mineral kingdom.
sir, I'm not following it clearly, because as I understand, prana is like a unitive force.
Prana
Because
is like,
when unitive force,
Unitive force.
huh,
a unitive force, because when the prana leaves the body, then all the molecules in our body do not act as a single unit after that. They
yeah,
all go in their different directions, and that leads to the complete collapse. Because right now the blood which our heart pumps and the oxygen which our lungs clear and give, it serves every single cell, and it's working together as one single machine. But when that does not happen, then eventually every cell dies, because it does not get the energy and the oxygen which some other organ is giving. So that unitive force is prana. When you say that, but the way you are describing prana appears to be connected to self consciousness. So I'm a little confused. Are there?
no, I think self consciousness is a different thing. It is not connected with prana. And there is one more clarification needed is prana and prana vayu are two different things again. You are referring to prana as an oxygen, then it is one thing. And prana as a principle derived from the jiva, which is a life principle.
Hmm.
That is a separate thing.
Yes, sir. But even when we say
Oxygen,
plants also die,
oxygen
a
is
plant also dies. So you cannot, how can you say a plant does not have prana? Because
no, no.
plant
I
also
didn't
dies.
say they don't have. What I
Huh.
say is their evolution of prana principle is at a stage, um, earlier stages of evolution, you can say.
Okay.
In they say that consciousness in minerals is not visible. In plants, it is visible because we can see the growth um, and development taking place in the plants. But they are fixed to a point. They cannot move. This movement comes with increased manifestation of pranas in animals. But animals are not self conscious.
So
I am I.
let me,
That kind of feeling
yes, sir.
is not there
No,
in
sir.
animals.
No, yes, sir. But what we are doing, talking, our topic today, like it is that overall, if the prana is not active in the kama rupa body, the kama rupa body cannot function. Obviously, that's because the prana is a unifying force in every body. It's not just in the physical, it's in the kama rupa, but also in the mental body. So the prana in the mental body also keeps the mental body in a unified way. It works together. The elementals of each of these bodies will go in their different directions if the pranic force was not there to unify them. Am I right or wrong in saying this?
So what is your point actually? What you are seeking as an explanation? Uh,
I am saying, sir, that there is no special connection between kama and prana. Prana is connected even to the mental body. It is connected to every body because it is the unifying force of all our septenary bodies.
yeah. So what is your point? That is what I have also mentioned.
Okay.
Uh,
I just confirming that. That's all. Thank you.
But I am particularly deliberating on the topic chosen where they follow each other in the course of evolution of these two principles. Prana is the third principle, Kama is the fourth principle, and Manas is the fifth principle. If we go from a physical body upwards, if we go from top, Manas is the third principle, then Kama, then Prana, that numbering, whatever way we follow. But those are in the vicinity, will influence each other to a very great extent in the course of evolution. That's why I mentioned to the evolution in the fourth round and evolution in the fifth round, which is going to be in the future. What is now happening is the evolution in the fourth round. In fourth round, there is domination of karma so far as the manas is concerned. But karma is active only if prana is there. If prana is not there active, then karma will not be there. Karma is activated by prana. That is what I mentioned. But as you mentioned, it is all pervasive. It is not only related with karma, it is pervaded with all other principles. That's why there is that reference to Anugita, in which they have mentioned septenary nature of prana. So, prana is applicable to all seven principles. Even each principle by itself is not itself alone, it has a septenary nature. So, in physical body, there are all seven principles in different degrees, but prominence is of the physical. In astral, there are all other principles are there, but prominence is of the astral. Like that, in all different principles, you will find they don't exist by themselves alone. They are a combination of all other principles in different degrees, with emphasis on one principle by which name they are referred to.
Okay.
Did you get the point? So it
Yes,
is
sir.
not,
Thank you.
I am not saying that prana is only in kama, but kama becomes active only because of prana. That is what I mentioned. Otherwise, without prana, a man will be, or any being will be desireless. Kama creates that desire. That's why she has mentioned that it is colorless by itself. Color is added when there are motives which come into action after self consciousness. When man becomes aware of his separate existence from others, selfishness comes. As long as he is not aware of his separate existence, there is no selfishness.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else who wants to add or to ask?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So thank you, brother. Thank you very much. And now we'll close the meeting with the universal prayer.
Rajiv Mathur wants to say something.
Rajiv
I
Mathur,
don't
you
want
want
to.
to say?
I'm just thanking you.
Okay.
Very nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's close with the universal prayer.
Yes.
O hidden light, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. Thank you to all. Thank you. Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you,
All
everyone.
the
Thank you.
participants and the Delhi Federation. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so